Just don't.
Neil, you want to do this thing?
Let's do this.
Jimmy, you ready to go live?
Whenever. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's do it. The following episode of What's the Buzz is sponsored by Manscaped.com. It's 4 o'clock in Los Angeles. It's 6 o'clock in Chicago, 7 p.m. in New York City. It's Tuesday night, Amelia the Pitbull Chapman. What does that mean?
What's the buzz time?
It's
and
What's
the
the
Big
Buzz
Mouth
time. Hello,
Hour.
everybody. Mad Dog DeCipio, joined tonight by the mouth of the South herself, the big mouth herself, Amelia the Pitbull. So when last we spoke, young lady, how the hell are you?
Doing good, actually.
And what have you been up to?
Trying to stay out of trouble since I'm grounded.
Yes, you are. We'll talk about that later on in the broadcast tonight. I have a gentleman, if he looks very familiar to some people, he should well, by God, because he's a famous movie star.
Yeah.
And he's a friend of mine. How about that shit? You didn't think I knew anybody famous, huh? I know a lot of famous people. Well, most of them are in WITTECH, but you're still, you know. But Jim Fyfe made it out. Jim Fyfe made it out. He is my friend. I went to high school with Jim Fyfe. He's an actor, presentation coach, improvisational teacher. He's an acting coach and teaches history. We're going to talk about that too, because Jim got involved in academics very early in life.
Mm-hmm.
He was always good looking. He was always smart. But why he became a teacher, I don't know why that happened. But let me formally introduce this gentleman. His name is Jim Fyfe. He is a 25-year veteran of television, film, and Broadway. As an actor, writer, producer, and director, Jim Fyfe was the consulting producer on the Bravo series, Andy Cohen's Then and Now, and segment producer on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, producing film and music stars, directors, and best-selling authors. He also worked, his work also includes, I should say, working with Michael J. Fox in the feature film Universal Studios' The Frighteners. And let's see here. And Jim also taught on-camera acting and improvisation, coached speakers for various TED Talks. Now, if you guys don't know what TED Talks is, it's fascinating. It's utterly fascinating. These people speak for about 15 to 20 minutes, supposedly anyway. Some of them are mouthy, they go longer. That would be me. And so Jim teaches them how to stand there and be interesting, because by God, he's an interesting fucking guy, damn it. Mm-hmm. He's a great guy. I love Jim Fyfe, and it's been far, far too long since I've seen this man. Jim holds a BA in speech and theater at DeSales University and MA in arts leadership at Bank Street College. Jim is also credentialed used guitar salesman. We have the exclusive film tonight. You'll see it nowhere else but right here on America's Popcast. What's the Buzz?
Yes.
Jim, welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Maiden voyage. I got to tell you, this is Amelia's gig tonight. And so we're introducing the big mouth concept to What's the Buzz, although it should be probably me.
Exactly. But you know what? I tried to keep it a secret for as much as I could, and I could not keep it, what 5 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I said to her, when he comes on, I'm going to stay in silhouette. Make sure that you don't like open your mouth and say anything. And then as soon as I heard you talk, I said, I can't keep my mouth shut. I got to jump.
And then
so my friend,
yes,
how are you?
I am doing well. Thanks very much.
Last time I saw you, my brother, was over a year ago.
I think it's more like 2 years.
What has it been?
I think it's 2 years.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
time
it's been
flies
a
when
while.
you're
You
having
told me
fun.
it's been a while.
2 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. The last time you were with me, it was we did a non-wrestling episode of Wrestling with the Future.
Mhm.
And then I believe I brought you back to do, what did we do that night? Did we do, oh, we talked about improvisation that
That's
night.
right. And
The second time.
right. I will say, I've been interviewed by well over 5 people in my career. And that interview was really one of the best, seriously, one of the best interviews I've ever had.
Thank
You
you.
asked really good questions, and it was a good, really interesting discussion.
5 people, 500 maybe. I just listened to an interview you did with a female doctor, a woman.
Yes.
Cute little doctor too. I listened to that interview and I thought, man, he's getting around. I made Jimmy a star over here.
Yes.
Like,
It's all, yeah.
podcast. He's a podcast prodigy now.
Once I made contact with the wrestling, the world, magic world of wrestling.
Yes.
I shot straight to the middle.
He probably thought, who in this world is this woman wanting me to be on her show?
Right?
No, once I knew it was Angelo, I knew the drill. I will say, Angelo, this podcast really has beautiful opening credits. Really nice.
Thank you. I believe it or not, I made all that.
Wow.
I made all that. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been concentrating a lot on editing content. I'm almost finished my 3rd book. I want to talk to you about it after the show.
Sure.
I've written 2 books already. I have a 3rd in the works that I think would be absolutely stellar for the TED Talks, but I can't tip the hat.
No.
And I'm legally not allowed to.
Sure.
Not yet anyway, because the publisher said shut up.
Hey, really?
Yeah.
You?
So I mentioned in the opening that Jim Fyfe was a credentialed guitar salesman. I'm going to go right to that aspect of your career. I have something you probably either have never seen or it's been a long time since you've seen it. Yikes. I don't even know if you realize this was videotaped.
What?
But this was somewhere, I'm guessing this was somewhere in New York, because it looks like a New York crowd. Okay.
Well, you're
Let's take a look
already. Yay.
Amelia, shut up.
I love show and tell. Can you tell?
I know she loves show and tell. Listen to this. Check this out, Jimmy.
How old, Nancy? About 10 years old?
10, yeah.
10? Oh, there you are. Okay, about 10 years old. Never really been played much at all. It's beautiful. No cracks. Any other history we should know about this that you can tell us?
Bob Dylan played it.
Bob Dylan played it, that's correct. That was the next thing I was about to say.
I think what I was going to say is I played Bob Dylan's song on it.
Oh, you play Bob Dylan? Same thing. His music is so powerful that when you play it, you channel him. All right, so in fact, some of the guys in Gary's tribute band, the band tribute band, got so into Dylan, one of them went out and had a motorcycle accident just for the authenticity. And then briefly became a Jew for Jesus, but only for one album. All right, but enough of that because my arms are getting tired. The minimum bid for this, ladies and gentlemen, just in case Bernie Madoff is in the audience, the minimum bid for this that we can only accept is 700 American cash dollars, which actually is a bargain because brand new these things are $1,000.
Is it cash only or credit card?
It is cash. I don't know. I think it's cash only. Yeah. But in this case, we would take a promissory note, however, could only be on delivery of said item.
Steph knows me. If I start off at 700, would that be good enough?
I'm assuming Steph being
Bartender.
the bartender.
Yeah, he's got a lot to lose.
So Steph, are you there?
No, he's not stupid.
He's not stupid. Okay, this is great. There's nothing I like better than doing a benefit on a Sunday night, and being heckled by a drunk. Okay, so it's all my entire career has led to
That
this
wasn't
moment.
Bobby, that was me.
I'm sorry?
That wasn't Bobby, that was me.
Okay, are you seriously bidding $700 for this guitar?
You take my credit card.
Okay, well, we'll take it as a we'll take it as a promissory note, and then you can work out with Nancy the delivery.
No problem.
700?
Yes.
Do I hear 750? 700. Going once. 700. Going twice. 700 gold sold for the final time. Sold. What?
800.
800. You're outbidding yourself. I'm going to buy you a gin and tonic. Because we're getting to 1,000. And it's wedding. What'd you say? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Is it a good cause?
It's a great cause because it's for Gary Solomon. So, sir, are you serious? You're going to go 800 for this?
We'll go 900 if we can get Big Jim Wheeler to sing a Tiny Tim song.
If we could get Big Jim Wheeler to sing a Tiny Tim song, I think we could do that for 900. Let's give it up for Big Jim. Let's get some love to get some Big Jim back. Big Jim
Let me just say I love Big Jim Miller. Okay.
Wheeler is going to jump up on the stage, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to tiptoe through the tulips for you.
He's little Steph, he's not stupid either.
Here we go. Big Jim. Big Jim, the request is this gentleman will give us $900 for this guitar if you will sing a Tiny Tim. I believe Big Jim is coming to the stage right now.
Does anybody know the words to a Tiny Tim song? Just wing it.
A 300-pound lady.
Okay.
He has to dance if it's Tiny Tim.
Tiny Tim.
Sing as high as you can.
Tiptoe through the tulips, through the garden. Won't you come with me? Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
That's hilarious, okay? That's hilarious. Where did that happen? By the way, I had to play the whole thing to show the context of it.
Sure. Here's what I have to say about that. That was a benefit for a friend of mine, Gary Solomon, whose house got flooded out. So I had another little mini sideline for a while doing these auctions around the Nyack, New York area. And I lived right around the corner from this place. It's a club in Piermont, New York called the Turning Point.
Okay.
Like, it's been there for a million years. And a lot, like, people have even recorded live albums. It's a tiny, tiny little club.
Yeah, I know the place.
So we were doing that. And you know it, really?
I do. I done bullshit for real. Straight up.
I used to live right around the corner from there. So,
I have an album recorded by the Kingston Trio.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I do.
So, that was the turning point. I'm going to say that's like 15, 16 years ago. Two things. I think my hair and my biceps look fantastic back then. Man, I'm
beautiful.
I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you
it was
what,
great. And, as you can see, I'm a saint for doing that. I got 900 bucks for this guy.
I saw that. I went, where the hell did this come from? So that got me to thinking, I'm going to pull out some of the more obscure pieces of Jim Fyfe memorabilia and see what lurks out there in cyberland, particularly YouTube. I found some gems. I have the standbys, of course, that you expect to see. Of course, the Frighteners trailer. We're going to see that in a minute. Some of your best work. Actually, some of your best work wasn't the Frighteners. There was a couple of films. I'm going to talk to you about some tonight.
Sure.
We have a little show and tell. Amelia, by the way, she gets very excited when we do show and tell.
I do.
So let's talk to everybody, and I want to bring Amelia into this too. Let's talk to everybody about how you got into acting as a foray into what you're doing now. How did acting play a pivotal or prominent role at the beginning of your career? Because you were, my understanding, and we talked about this before, that you were dead set on being an actor.
Yes.
You just wanted to work. That was your quote was, I just wanted to work.
Yeah.
And meet girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he said. That's a direct way. I wanted to work and meet girls. So how important was Mrs. Arnade in that eventual commitment that you made?
Lorraine Arnade was the high school director at Paul VI High School in Haddon Township, New Jersey, where we went. And she directed the plays with her husband. And she was really serious about it. You know, you got into this thing. It was like any kind of really great coach in a sport or something. It's like, look, this isn't just about this thing we're doing. We want to do it really well, but it also is like about learning to be in a group and learning how to, how to give the spotlight and take the spotlight, learning how to immerse yourself in a role, because I did the plays, from the second I arrived in high school. And then in my junior year, I played Tevye in Fiddler on the Roof. So, and they were really like, you gotta give yourself to this. And so I had an experience doing that show where I felt myself become somebody else, totally different from me, and yet also more I felt deeply and truly myself than I ever had been at the same time. It doesn't make logical sense, but I knew that it was real, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. So from
Jim,
that,
I have a can I interject a question in here, because I think where this question goes is going to follow right along your answer to the bigger picture. You talked about getting lost in this, becoming somebody else, immersing yourself in a character.
Right.
I've heard actors, and we've had a lot of actors on this show, a lot. I've heard people talk about the freedom that comes with that. I've also heard actors say that sometimes they're a bit stifled in someone else's skin, as it were. What is it for you? Is it a freedom for you? Or is it stifling?
No, it was absolutely always a freedom for me to really get into a part and feel like I was getting it and do well, and especially in theater, you can really feel the audience. It's a live event, like a sport. So you can really feel it. I never felt stifled by that. I definitely felt like I went too far at least once. Like right after I got married in 1987, I was doing this play called Moon Children. It's about a bunch of young hippies living in this apartment in the 60s. And I played this guy called Dick. And that's exactly what he was. He was like the biggest dick in the apartment. And I was like, all these hot young actors are in this, and this is going to be a big deal for me. And this is going to be the best thing I've ever done. I'm going to go 1,000% into this. And so I was coming home and I found myself having these fights with my wife. We literally been married like 2 months. And I was like, what is going on? And I realized, oh, this is that thing that some actors talk about like where you're bringing it home, and I was like, oh, this is not me having fights with my wife. This is Dick having fights with my wife. So
we've heard stories like this before, Jim. We've heard, like, on a grand scale, Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman to the point where he wouldn't talk to anyone unless it was in character.
Right.
And then when filming wrapped, he couldn't get out.
Yeah, sure.
And needed intense therapy.
Sure. And there are certain roles that do that to people. I've heard people who've played Hamlet or Jesus say that, like, those are two parts that just really stay with you. But look, you're dealing with your raw material is yourself. And so you have to be careful, but you have to learn how to make that division.
Amelia, questions for Jim Fyfe?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you too, because I mean, a lot of characters, they get into the role and they stay like that, and they pretty much can't get out of that. But now that you, what was your favorite role to play as far as like your very first role?
Professor Harold Hill in The Music Man.
That's what I did the year after I played Tevye in high school.
I know.
I
That was
played
great, by the way.
played lots of parts that I really, really loved. I think, looking back, because I'm not an actor anymore,
Mhm.
I think really I was uh, trained on stage, and
Mhm.
I really was most natural and most comfortable in front of live audiences
Mhm.
in plays. I did TV and I did film, and I enjoyed a lot of it, but really doing things on stage was my main thing. So I played a bunch of parts on stage, some of them college, some of them
Yeah.
professionally, that I really loved doing. Uh, so I don't think I have like a favorite.
If you could go
I
back
found
and
out
redo
something
another one. Oh,
interesting. I'm sorry, Emil,
mhm,
and let me interject something very quickly.
mhm,
I found out something interesting about Al Pacino. We know him from his great film work.
mhm.
He's a consummate actor. He's been around forever. He doesn't like film. He prefers the stage. He prefers the.
Yeah,
He was a stage actor
sure,
Mhm.
before he ever
Oh,
stepped in front of a camera anywhere.
sure.
wow.
It's
And it's like Jim. He needs
Mhm.
that human connection to feed the energy to feed off of.
yeah.
Did
I
you
think.
find that, Jim, that you needed that that vibration, that frequency?
Well, I think I understood it. The other thing you have to do as an actor, though, is you have to be, and a great director, the late Gene Saks, taught me this. He would point at the empty audience, and he would say, "Don't listen to them," because if you start listening to them, and especially because most of what I did on stage certainly was comedy, if you play into it too much, you lose the
Mhm.
truth of the character that you're playing. It's a fine line to walk, and you have moments and performances where you just don't walk it
Yeah.
well, and then you have others where you're like, how did that happen, and how can I do that again
Yeah.
every
How do we do it again? Amelia, continue. I apologize for
Oh, no, no.
interjecting.
If you could go back and replay a role, which one would it be?
Gosh, if I could go back and replay a role.
Harold Hill in the music. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm busting
I
chops.
don't know. Would I go back and do uh gosh, I mean, if I could redo a part, I
Mhm.
think I would want to redo the role that I played in the Frighteners,
Mhm.
because the role kind of changed during
Mhm.
filming, and I don't feel like I changed with it
Mm.
uh,
Interesting.
enough.
Wow.
So
Interesting for you to
I
say
guess
that.
off the
Mm.
top of my
Are
head,
you very critical of your performance, Jim?
yeah.
Are you like hypercritical? Would you consider yourself hypercritical?
Well, the great thing about stage is you can't see it.
Yeah,
You can just
Once you're
exactly.
imagine
done with it
it.
live, you're done with it, right?
I'm great, you know? But when you see yourself on film, I mean,
Mhm.
I remember reading Paul Newman saying, "Oh, I can't stand watching myself." Paul Newman,
Hmm.
Yeah.
you know? And Donald Sutherland claims he's never seen lots of his own work. So I can understand why people would do that. I felt like, yeah, I really felt like on TV and film, I did a few things that I thought I was good in, you know. Um,
Mhm.
so yes, I'm very, very critical. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Amelia.
Yeah, because like that's how I am sometimes. I have to like redo everything until I think it's just right.
I'll vouch
Angela,
for that. I
yeah,
will vouch for that.
Angela can go live like that. I can't
Oh
do that.
God,
It's
yeah.
like boom.
Right.
I
Yeah.
will
And
absolutely vouch for her on that one for
well, and the thing
sure.
is, depending on when you're filming anything,
Mhm.
it's very expensive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, you know, y- 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 as a character actor, you're not going to usually get as many takes as like the leads or what the people that the film is actually about. So, you don't get like times or they won't use the take you thought was the best.
Mhm.
They'll use some other one. You know what I mean? So you're at the mercy of editing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah.
gonna quickly get through the filming just to go ahead and get with the film done, so they could go ahead and produce it, get it done,
Right.
get start
Especially in
story there.
television.
Mhm.
Especially in television. There's like, it's like you got to really you got to shoot during that day what you got to get during that day, and then you keep moving.
Jim, we talked on the last show that we did about you walking away from the business, from acting. Well, I should say that you're not totally removed from show business or the entertainment business, because you're certainly directly involved in it on any number of levels, but you're not actively acting anymore.
Yeah.
As a performer. But what you're doing is coaching and training other performers.
Sure.
Does that carry with it, Jim, its own set of challenges? And how difficult was it to walk away? Do you ever get the bug to go back and do a movie or audition for a series or whatever? How difficult was it to walk away? And now how difficult is it to
stay
teach
away?
Other people? Is it exciting?
Okay. No, I do not want to go back. I would go back if somebody called me and offered me something. What I don't,
a lot of money.
It wouldn't even necessarily have to be a lot of money. It would depend on, my schedule and other junk like that. But if I felt like it was really a good thing that I wanted to do and somebody offered it to me, I would not go back to auditioning. Auditioning for a living is exactly like being a professional gambler. So it's like you go in and you sit and you spin the wheel, or you let the cards be dealt, and you get what you get that day. And that's, I'm sure some people find that exciting, but I found it really beat me down after I was in New York for 12 years, and then I was in Los Angeles for 8. And after about 3 years in LA, I was really sort of done, because even though I was doing better and better every year, it wasn't going where I thought it was going to go.
I want to talk to you about, stop right there, because what you just did, you just did something I was hoping that you would do at some point tonight. You referenced, without realizing it, you referenced an interview you did with a woman recently that I listened to, a doctor, a young woman, a doctor, cute doctor, by the way. And you said to her, you lost the passion.
Yeah.
And then that was your direct word. You lost the passion. I look at Jim Fyfe. Forget that I know you, but I look at you removed, because I can do that. You're an incredibly talented guy. You have a way of engaging people. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. This is for real, okay? And you have a way of committing yourself to a part. Good, bad, or indifferent. You commit yourself to it. And you never know whether it's good, bad, or indifferent until the audience chimes in on it, largely. Sometimes you get that gut feeling where you say, oh, I'm really proud of this, or this really blows. Let's talk about both of those occasions. Let's talk about the extraordinarily proud moment, separate and aside from the Frighteners, which I know is a given. And then that moment where you said, this really sucks balls.
Well, I would say, I'll start with the second thing first. I didn't have a moment where it's like, I'm done, because I worked, except for my first year in Los Angeles, I was doing better and better. But what raises the stakes considerably, as I think is when you suddenly have like a child.
Oh yeah.
I had a wife and a child to support, and so that makes the stakes of that professional, that roll of the dice, way, way higher. It's not a game anymore. It's like, I gotta get this, or I gotta get something. So it was really that I was getting more and more work. I wasn't liking the work that I was getting, because I mostly played either computer nerds with a bad attitude, or some form of mental defective.
Would you share with everyone? Because you just reminded me of something you said that I almost had to leave and go to the bathroom on the last show, because it was funny. You said a director came up to you and said, you're going to get the geek, the nerd, or what was the other one?
No, it wasn't a director.
How was? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
yeah. It was my first agent in LA was a young guy.
Your agent. That was it.
It was a young guy, Jim Weisenbach, but his partner, Michael Karg, was an older guy, and he sat down, he looked at me, and he's like, you know something? There's only 3 kinds of parts for guys in this town: killers, fuckers, and clowns. And I don't see you killing or fucking anybody.
Oh no.
He was absolutely right.
I love that line. Oh
it is.
my God.
Yeah, it's pure gold.
But you know something, Amelia? He's absolutely right. Think about when you watch television or think about what you're watching. You're watching a lunatic, you're watching a lover, or you're watching a killer.
Right. Or one guy that's only good enough to be a police officer.
Well, but there's always some variation of that. Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're either out of your mind, or you're banging everybody in the film, or you're killing everybody in the film. And sometimes you're banging them and killing them.
Right. So for me, you know, being the clown was fine, you know, but like I just didn't. I wasn't feeling it, you know. Right. So it was just unrewarding. And I was finding myself working more and more. Like,
yes.
So I wanted to get out. I just didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And so that's why I walked away. A friend of mine who was a producer offered me a writing job. And so I wrote for a show called Exhale with Candice Bergen on Oxygen, which was just a tiny, tiny network at the time. So that was my first gig on the other side of things, on the production side of things. And I remember thinking like, oh, this is where the grown-ups are. Oh, cool. Okay. Because this is also where like I was being valued every day for what was in here rather than what I looked like to someone in a passing car.
Incredible. Jim, you also related a story to me that I believe may have happened, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it may have happened in New York, where you were going to audition for, it might have been Saturday Night Live.
Saturday Night Live, and he was going against Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you tell that story in case for those who have never heard that story?
Well, I think it's pretty typical of a thing that happens to a lot of actors if you just change the circumstances. So I went in and I auditioned for Saturday Night Live. And that year, Lorne Michaels was coming back. He had been away for a few years. He was coming back. And Al Franken and his then partner, Tom Davis, were kind of like executive producers. So I auditioned for them. And I had one of those auditions where like you walk in and they're like, okay, you got anything for us? And I, 5 minutes later, they were like, okay, well, great. Wow, that was really good. Did you write that? Yeah, I did. Oh, yeah, great. So I had this great audition, and then it was another audition, and I got down to the finals. And my agent told me, look, hang in there because they like you. But they, some of the people on the show want Anthony Michael Hall, and this was 1985, so he was at the height of his fame. Oh, and sure. So I walked into the final audition, and the door bumped into somebody, and it was Anthony Michael Hall, and he was talking to Joan Cusack, and he said, "Yeah, this is great. I'm going to be on the show, and you're going to be on the show. It's going to be fantastic." So I was just like standing there, and it's like, well, I guess this is a done deal. I guess this guy didn't even have to audition.
You see the games they play though? They don't. Yeah. They got them all fired. But that bothers me because it's
a business, and that's the thing. It's like
a cutthroat business, Jim. It's horrible.
Do you know any other kind?
No, you're right.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
I was lucky enough to be trained, like I said, by people like Lorraine Arnade and her husband, who were like, this is a serious thing. You approach this with respect. You treat it with respect. You're joining a long tradition here, and you work as a team. Lots of lessons in there. And then I went to college. Bill Callahan, my acting teacher, was a crusty old New York stage manager and actor who would smoke a pack and a half of cigarettes every class. And his whole thing was like, this business owes you nothing. In fact, it will give you less than nothing. It will give you pain. And your reward is nothing. Like, you cannot expect that. And so, you know, I thought about that when I was confronted with this moment of like, well, here's this guy. Now maybe he thinks he's on the show or whatever, but
yeah,
I literally took myself over into a corner and talked to myself. And I said, okay, look, you have two choices. You can walk out now, because if, you know, or give up. If you really want to just trust what your senses tell you, and this is done and it's over, then leave, you know, or stay and go in the room and change their minds, or try, you know, do that while you can. Go in and trust the material you've worked on really hard, that you've written, you've tested in clubs for years. Go in there and deliver this and change their mind. And so I went into the room, and there was Lorne Michaels and a few other people, and Anthony Michael Hall on the other side of the table watching me audition. But it's like, you know, look, I still went in and took my shot. I didn't get it, but like, I'm glad I did. And I'm glad I stayed and did that, you know? So look, like I said, you know, even back to my high school director, she was always about like, you know, this isn't just doing a play. This is about life and how you want to walk through the world.
Yeah.
Which is true about anything, if you have the right teachers and the right frame of mind for it and about it.
Jim, I am up against a hard break. We will take a message from our sponsor. We will be right back, folks. Stick around. Do you have sweaty balls or volleyball netty balls? It's time to make them ready balls. The Manscaped.com Lawnmower 3.0 will do the job and clean your knob with its patented no-nick head, so your head will function as desired. Enter promo code Wrestling Future for a generous 20% discount. That's enter Wrestling Future for a 20% discount. Manscaped.com and Wrestling with the Future, going balls to the walls with Manscaped.com and the Lawnmower 3.0. Your balls will thank you, and so will we. What's Buzz Podcast wants to welcome Radioactive FM 88.6 in Wellington, New Zealand, Radio Perth, Australia, and RTL Radio 102.5 in Milan, Italy. Welcome aboard, and welcome to the Buzz. Yes, leave it to a people on the show named Mad Dog and the Pitbull to have a ball shaver as a sponsor.
I would expect nothing less.
Thank you. I'm honored. Oh, Lord. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now as a presentation coach. You're still doing that, Jim?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're still doing improv occasionally?
Yeah, I teach improv. Yeah, I teach improv to teenagers now, but I've taught it to adults. I've taught it to, you know, little kids. I teach it to anybody that wants to learn it.
Is it well? That's exactly what's a great segue. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is it difficult today, given the mindset of the public? Is it difficult today to introduce that discipline to someone who doesn't think they already know everything? We talked about it a little bit off camera. People in our old field, the professional wrestling field, you know, the 21-year-olds, they know everything about pro wrestling. So there's apparently no room for a guy that's, 64 now. So, hey, I guess I'm obsolete. I just want to find out if Jim Fyfe is obsolete, or is there still worth in you teaching these guys?
Sure. Look, I mean, I'm sorry those guys gave you attitude, but that's
that's okay. I got friends like you, though, Jim.
Exactly. You got the pit bull to protect you.
Yeah.
Look, like I said, was talking about, it's all about the way you want to walk through life. It's like, the reason I really like my second career in a lot of ways more than my first career mean, my first career got me to my second career of teaching and coaching people and working with people and not having to do it myself, is that, it's some chance to leave something behind me that's not, that I don't know if somebody remembers me or learns something from me. That's great. So, the teenagers that I work with, or anybody that I work with as a client, it's like, look, whatever I got, you're welcome to it. I'm just here to help you through life. You're here to help me in the form of a little bit of cash, but I'm here.
Is it easier, Jim, for the for you to educate the teens, or how about the old? Let's say you have someone that's not a teen, someone that's a
like
little
myself. Like myself, if I was to come to you,
someone like an old fart like me or Amelia was.
Well, it's tremendously exciting to work. The thing you get from working with young people is the energy, and they will just go at something 1,000%, but working with older people, when, the great thing about improv is it's very, very simple to learn. The basic concepts can be explained in a few minutes, but it's practicing them and just doing it. And what's great about any live performance, but especially improv, is you can watch people surprise themselves and break through things. And so, working with people over 30 on improv is they just have so much more in there to let out. They don't even know what they've got most of the time. And, when I was working with, I found myself unemployed for like most of 2017. And one of the things that was kind of like, I got to do a reset here. This is something, I'm over 50 now. So like, I really got to think about what I want. So one of the things I wanted to do was teach improv to older people. And so that was really the first time I did that. And I worked with this group of people in Nyack, where I was living. And they were like, some people I knew, moms, dads, business owners, just like people that just wanted to come in. This was not a required course for anybody. So it's like, look, we meet on Thursday night and we improv. And I taught them the basics. And boy, with this group, after, I don't know, 6 months or so, maybe a year, 9 months, after a couple of these 10-week sessions, we got to the point where these people could do like an entire 15 or 20-minute play.
Wow.
Improvised the whole thing with characters that would go out and come back, where like it actually had like a plot that had a beginning and a middle and an end. And it's like, I'm not telling them do this or do that. All I'm doing is a few simple rules at the beginning, a few simple rules at the beginning, and then go. And they would just do this. It was absolutely magical.
Why I love improv so much, because you can go anywhere. It's limitless. You can go anywhere you want. I want to show everybody what I call video is forever, a life's journey. So we're going to, please don't get scared. Take a look at this, everybody. Just
because I paid some guys a lot of money to get rid of my porn work.
Well, I think Amelia found some of it.
Oh my God.
Let's take a look at this.
It was soft core.
Not many people are taking time to care about the environment. We worry about garbage, polluting the air, polluting the water. The ozone layer is just going to be gone, and soon the Earth's just going to be a pile of junk. The Earth could blow up. Kaputzi. We just won't have an Earth.
Earth to Kids, a guide to products for a healthy planet.
Hi, I'm Jim Fyfe, and this is a show about the Earth. It's about what kids can do to make the Earth a better place. It's also a show about trash, junk, glop, and the stuff that we buy and use and throw away and then buy again. Everything we throw away adds to a garbage mess that's becoming a big problem. But by making good choices every day, we can make less of a mess. This is a show about what products to buy and what not to buy. It's about shopping for a better world, because every little thing we do can make a big difference.
Oh boy.
Hi, how you doing? Fine, how are you? Fine, how are you?
Now, Jim, you were what, like 12, 13 in this clip?
No, I was, let's see, this is me. I mean, this is me in my late 20s, but I looked 12 until I was 40.
Well, you have a baby face for sure. Absolutely. Let's watch this, Amelia. I think you'll get a kick out of
This
it.
is filmed in my apartment. This is my actual apartment.
Well, I didn't think they spent all this money on a set. So
no, they spent no money on this. This was Connecticut Public Television.
Let's take a look at this.
Okay.
Fine, how are you? I guess there's one of me in every crowd. I've got a ready smile. I don't laugh too loud. I'm fitting in. I'm everybody's second best friend. Hey, don't mind me, man. No time or money to spend. Don't ask my opinion, 'cause hey, I don't know. I might be unhappy, but I'll never let it show. I've always been this way, and I don't wonder why. I'm a thing of beauty. I'm a normal guy. Because I read the papers and I watch TV. Anything good on? I sit and wonder why girls never notice me. Oh well. I've got a small apartment and a little car. I go out on the weekend, but I don't go far. Sometimes to the movies, or maybe just to the store. I used to go to discos, but I don't go anymore. Too loud, know what I mean? I've often seen you on the bus. I'm surprised that there are so many of us. Did you see the game last night on Channel 3? I guess I fell asleep. It just went on too late for me. So I guess I'll read about it in the paper, and I'll watch the late results on TV. I guess I'll just sit and wonder why the boss doesn't notice me. Well, he's a very busy man. He's got a lot on his mind. Hey, it's only fitting that I'm fitting. It's only fitting that I'm fitting. It's only fitting that I'm fitting in.
That kid has nice hair.
Yay.
Great hair.
hair.
Absolutely. Yes. So yeah, I never saw this before. I discovered it last week. I didn't even know it was. That's funny because I didn't know that it even existed. Then I did an IMDb search, and sure enough, it shows up on your IMDb. A normal guy. So where did this come up? The concept for it, the idea. What was the purpose of? Obviously, you had a camera guy. You spent a couple of bucks on your credits or whatever it was. And you wrote the music yourself. I know that you're a songwriter. So what was the whole idea behind The Normal Guy?
Okay. I got involved in the great stand-up comedy scare of the 1980s. And that happened like right as I got to New York. So, I was doing plays and all this stuff, but then I would do these different characters that I made up and amuse people when we were drinking beers after the show and stuff. So I, when stand-up I put it all together into one evening. And then I realized well, some of this stuff is stand-up, and I could do that like in clubs. So I started to do that. So I had a few things that I would do, and that was my stand-up act. And that was the stuff I used to audition for Saturday Night Live. But then I had all these other things, which were like characters that I came up with, that were character monologues, kind of like Whoopi Goldberg did a show like this around at the same time, like just character monologues. So I strung them all into one evening and wrote that song, and I just called it A Normal Guy. And it was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 characters of different types, and I did it. I did it a few different places, but then I got a run off Broadway, and through sheer luck, I got a review in the Daily News. And it was like, it wasn't a long review, but it was over ads. So it went across 5 columns or 6 columns. Yeah. So it really looked like a big deal. So I was doing this show, and, all of a sudden I would go out on stage and I would go like, I don't know anybody in the audience. I don't know any of these people, because So it had like a little, I think it ran for a month or something like that. And, I spent almost nothing on it. So I made money. I actually made money on this, like $500.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you're not spending anything, it's all profit for you.
Yeah. And then I
actually invested.
Yeah. I knew these 2 guys who worked for Connecticut Public Broadcasting, and they came to me and said, we'd like to shoot your show. We'd like to shoot a performance. And I was like, great. Yeah. They said, we can shoot the song because I would just come out and begin the show with a guitar. And they were like, well, we can make it into a credits. And that's what we just saw.
Well, I was going to tell you that I watched the whole hour and 22 minutes of it.
God bless you.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, it was actually very entertaining.
Thank you.
It really, really was. It was very, I encourage everyone.
Yes.
It's on YouTube. It's called Jim Fyfe, A Normal Guy. Running time's about an hour and 22 minutes. And it takes you through the veritable life of Jim Fyfe. And it really does. It's kind of autobiographical in a way. It features a lot of your comedy. It does feature a bit of music.
Yeah.
It surprised me, though. There were some, serious pieces in it.
Right.
And I'm just going to leave it at that for people to watch. But I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it. And it was an hour and 22 minutes well spent.
Nice.
I want to show you something. I don't know, Jim, if you're aware of this. Somebody put a tribute video together for you.
Oh.
I don't know if you're aware of this.
This probably will include my porn work then.
I'll tell you what, Amelia, let's watch this little video of Jim, and then I'll throw it to you for questions.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this at all?
Yeah, I saw it years ago.
This is #1 champion.
Oh, so you are familiar with this?
Yeah, I've seen this. Yeah.
Okay. And did you have anything to do with the compilation of it?
No. I'm too busy. I got other stuff to do.
Okay.
Well, I don't. No. Somebody.
Well, no. Look, if you don't ask, you don't know.
Right?
No. Somebody had a lot of time on their hands. Did this.
Hey, I'll tell you what. They put a lot of clips in here. Let's take a look.
Sound, yeah, Estelle, we about to get down. Who the hottest in the world right now? Just touched down in London town. Bet they give me a pound. Tell them put the money in my hand right now. Got a promoter, we need more seats. We just sold out all the floor seats.
Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come pick you with you. You'll be my American boy. He said, hey sister, it's really, really nice to meet ya. I just met this 5'7" guy who's just my type. Like the way he's speaking, his confidence is peaking. Don't like his baggy jeans, but I like what's underneath it. And no, I ain't been to MIA. I heard the Cali never rains, and New York's wide awake. First let's see the West End, I'll show you to my brethren. I'm liking this American boy, American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come pick you with you. You'll be my American boy, American boy. Can we get away this weekend? Take me to Broadway. Let's go shopping, maybe then we'll go to a cafe. Let's go on the subway, take me to your hood. I've never been to Brooklyn and I'd like to see what's good. Dressed in all your fancy clothes, sneakers looking fresh to death. I'm loving no show toes. Walking that walk, talk that slick talk. Liking this American boy, American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to New York, I'd love to see LA. I really want to come kick it with you. You'll be my American boy. Tell a walk block.
Who killing them in the UK? Everybody gonna say UK. Reluctantly, cause most of this press don't with me. Estelle once said, tell me cool down, down. Don't act a fool now, now. Always act a fool, ow, ow. Ain't nothing new now, now. He crazy, I know what you're thinking. Rapping, I know what you're drinking. Rap singer, chain blinger. Holla at the next chick soon as you're blinking. What's your persona about this Americana? Rhymer, am I shallow? Cause all my clothes designer. Dress smart like a London bloke. Before he speak, his suit be spoke. And you thought he was cute before. Look at this peacoat, tell me he's broke. And I know you ain't into all that. I heard your lyrics, I feel your spirit, but I still talk that cat ass. Cause a lot of wags wanna hear it. And I'm feeling like Mike at his baddest. Like the picture they gladdest. And I know they love it, so they hell with all that rubbish.
Would you be my lover? Would you be mine? Would you be my lover? Would you be mine? Could you be my lover? Would you be my American boy? American boy. Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. Take me to Chicago, San Francisco Bay. I really want to come pick it with you. You'll be my American boy, my American boy. La, 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 la.
Wow.
The many faces.
Oh, I love that.
Jim, somebody took a little time to put that little video tribute together for you.
Yeah.
You have a loyal fan base, young man.
Mm-hmm.
At least one person.
Yeah. I'm imagining that somebody in Japan.
Wow.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, that was Encyclopedia, which I did in 1987.
Really? How about that?
Wow.
It was a children's show.
Do you realize this gentleman was that famous?
Yes. Oh, wow. That's first of all, I want to say that Saturday Night Live, you made a big mistake hiring Anthony Michael Hall.
They made a huge mistake with Anthony Michael Hall. Trust me. Oh my God.
Yes, they did. And seeing the way the movies or even the TV shows are now and the way they are back then, what advice would you give someone wanting to be in the movies or TV shows or even maybe in Broadway?
Well, I think I'd want to give them the same advice that I got, which is don't do it unless you absolutely have to. Really. I mean, there's like community theater. You can even make little films like, with your phone and not have to, quit your day job. But, if you really want to go into this, you have to understand. I think we were talking about this. I don't remember if this was before we started rolling or not, but if you don't understand that this being an actor is one of the most unfair professions you could possibly get into, the business will teach you that very quickly. Look, there are people who get lucky and just kind of go and it goes great for them, and God bless, it's great. But for most people, it's going to be tough. It's really tough. And you shouldn't do it unless you absolutely cannot do anything else and will not do anything else. And even then, if you decide you're going to do it, you better be ready to do other things like cater, temp, like, whatever you can do to scrape together a living.
Jim, how long did you...
The last thing I would say is, if you're really going to do it, you're a young person, think very, very, very seriously about who you bring into your life. Because if you bring in, children into your life who depend on you, they don't care if you're famous. They don't care how great an actor you are. There's a great story in Bruce Springsteen's book where, like, he takes his kids to see him at, I think, like JFK Stadium or something like it's like 100,000
Oh,
people.
wow.
And like they go to see, they go to the show, and it's Bruce Springsteen. I mean, the greatest performer of the last 100 years, probably. And so he's like driving home after the show with his wife's wife is in the band. They're driving home with the kids, and like the kids are like, and he's like, well, so what'd you think of the show? They're like, it was good. It's like, really? You do understand I'm Bruce Springsteen, right? And he said he realized his kids didn't care that he was Bruce Springsteen.
He's
their
dad.
He's dad to them. Yes.
He's dad.
So I think it's like you got to understand that, and you have to understand like my acting teacher in college used to say, smoking cigarette, he'd be like, the theater is a jealous bitch. She's going to take everything from you. They want more, and it was put in sexist terms, but like he was right.
Yeah. Always have a backup career. If you're not going to make it in the acting or music business, you always want to have a backup, basically.
Yeah.
Well, Amelia, why don't you explore that avenue with Jim?
Right. Well, basically, like, if you have, like, if you're a quarterback, a famous quarterback, if you're not going to make it as a quarterback, you want to make sure you have a law degree or you're a doctorate in something else. Because if you're not going to, because there's been a lot of famous quarterbacks that maybe make it not even a year, and they have to go back into the field that they were training in before.
Sure.
I mean, there's been, I think it was Washington Redskins. Well, back then, I just can't remember his name off my head, but he had to go back into law school and become a lawyer.
Sure.
And
Jim, here's a question for you. I'm curious to hear your answer to it.
Me too.
If you're the type of guy, then you appear to be the type of guy to me that doesn't want to go backwards in any way, shape, or form. How do you keep yourself motivated to go forward if you know that your future is limited, or B, you have a number of things to choose from, and this is going to be it? How do you make it interesting for yourself if you know you cannot and will not go backward?
I know what you mean.
Okay. If you're not the kind of person that wants to go backward in life, either back to acting or backwards in any way, shape, or form, going forward is a challenge for some people. That's what I'm going for with this. Some people find it a challenge to move forward.
Yeah.
That either they feel like they're going to be pigeonholed in a particular career, or they end up choosing a career that they regret later.
Sure.
So, and in that case, sometimes going backward is your only option. Falling, I hate the term falling back. I'd rather fall forward. But you understand what I'm going with that one?
Well, I think you're talking about that, like, you can get into a place in your life where you're you don't feel like you have choices, like you don't feel like you have new choices, right?
And then not only that, Jim, but a place in life where you feel like you're not advancing, I guess would be the way I want to put it.
It depends on, it all depends on what you mean by advancing. Because for some people, advancing means, am I moving up? Am I making more money?
True enough.
And if that's what you want, then, you're going to have times. It depends on what your values are. I have managed to make less and less money with each new career, and I'm proud of that achievement. But
I have a great segue for you there.
Okay.
According to the internet, when you and I go Google yourself, because I Googled Jim Fyfe and it said Jim Fyfe net worth. I got 5 results for Jim Fyfe net worth. You're either worth anywhere between 1 to 7 million, 5 to 19 million, or 11 to 24 million, depending on which one of these websites you want to believe. Okay, so now, which is it? Are you a poor millionaire or a rich millionaire?
Did you find that on kidnapthesepeople.com? Because look, none of those is true.
And all of those numbers are out there. I swear to you, I can't make
Yeah, if you Google it, you'll find all those
I
different
thought to
numbers.
myself, God bless him. I'm glad Jim's doing well.
I'm doing well, but I don't have any money. I mean, honestly, I'm not like a poor person.
Right. No, you have a beautiful apartment.
This is a house, but
beautiful house. Well, the last time I talked to you, you were in an apartment, or remember you were moving?
Yeah, we lived in Nyack, New York.
That's right, Nyack.
Now we live in the Catskills, up in the mountains.
Oh, I love the Catskills.
Yeah,
I actually had a guy on the show 2 months ago that did an incredible film up in it was filmed the entire film was filmed in the Catskills with all old Jewish comedians. It was called When Jews Were Funny. He's a director named Alan Zweig. I did an hour and a half with him, and I pissed myself.
And it was about like the Borscht Belt?
Yeah, exactly. The old Borscht Belt comics like Jackie Leonard, Fat Jackie Leonard, Shelley Berman. Oh, my God. Myron Cohen, Kenny Youngman, all the old great Jewish comics.
Right.
Let's take a look. I want to do a little show and tell for Amelia. This is going to have some
show
stuff in it
too.
Yeah, right. We're going to take a look at this. There's some of this stuff I've not seen before. This is a list of Jim Fyfe's credits. Take a look. I'm sure you know this work because you've done it.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this work was available here.
Are these just like posters?
Yeah, they're show posters. Yeah. Is that the guy in Japan that did that video
Oh yeah, that's good.
Is that one he said?
Yeah, I know you did the film with Richard Grieco. But you're
I
saying
did two films. I did 2 films in Bulgaria.
Oh wow!
And I got killed in both.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, I did courses on that. Yeah, that was Gene Wilder.
Yeah, I love Gene Wilder.
Oh yeah, he was New York.
She's great.
Now you did a couple of things for Tracy, right?
I did it.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I did it too. Definitely a photo.
How'd you get involved with the Wayne Brothers? Okay. Terrific.
Law and Order coming out.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Oh, I did it.
And I had no idea that you were involved in this at all. I've never seen it.
I've
never seen it.
I did a couple episodes of this obscure show also.
Yeah, it must have lasted about 5 minutes. This is the one you're known for. And one of them.
I did an episode where I played an FBI agent, which is odd.
Yeah, you played an agent.
Yeah, she's on every New York actor. How would I do it?
Now I have to tell you a little truth about the Sinbad show was created by a friend of ours, a friend of the show here, Mark Sotkin. He was the writer, producer, and director of Golden Girls. Yeah, Mark, that was Mark. He also wrote for that show. He did all the writing for it. He said Sinbad was a little tough to work with.
Yeah,
what? There was a lot of stuff there that I didn't realize that you did.
There was also the X-Files he did too.
Say again, Mila?
He did the X-Files also.
Oh, God,
And
yeah, of course.
Starstruck
I
and
didn't.
Power 98.
Everything well, hold on a minute, okay? So let me back up a little bit. He had like an hour and a half worth of credits to go through, okay?
Oh, yes.
Because he did a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Big stuff, small stuff, film, television.
Oh, yes.
Okay. I even managed to get a hold of some stuff from high school. By the way, can we talk about high school a minute?
Yeah, I want to hear about how he was in high school.
I want to talk about high school because there's a couple of things I need to talk about. First of all, I knew that you were going to amount to somebody as an actor when we did, and I was in it too, when we did The Music Man. Okay. Now, that was an interesting show because the woman who did the choreography, you remember the dance numbers? There was a woman, she was a former Rockette that did the choreography for that. I knew once I did that show, regardless of my two left feet, I was coordinated once there were people in front of me. As soon as the curtain closed or I went backstage, I could fall over myself. But I learned the discipline of acting from those shows that we were in. Because I was in pretty much all of them that you and John were.
Right.
Because I'm a hot dog like that, right? So I want to talk about The Music Man, particularly. Whenever I think of you, just Professor Harold Hill just pops in my head. What was it like getting into Harold Hill's head?
Honestly, I think it was pretty easy because I don't know. Maybe, the guy's a liar. So, so I remember it as being pretty easy. Honestly, I had played a lot of parts up till then where I had have a beard glued to my face and like lines drawn on. And for Harold Hill, it's just like I showed up, combed my hair. They put a little powder on me and I was like in a suit. So it's like, oh, yeah, this is pretty easy.
Yeah, right.
A beard glued to my face. And it's really fun. It's a really nice piece of writing. I think, was that my senior year? I think it was my senior year.
It was.
So, I had already decided I was going to theater school and I had already been accepted. So I'm sure I was unbearable egomaniac, but I remember
what stood out most about that, and you may have just answered why. The fact that you didn't have to like overindulge in makeup or character, that you were natural. It seemed like Jim Fyfe having fun. That's what it came across to me as.
Well, I think
Fyfe is just having a good time.
Well, I think but that's also the character. I think the thing about Harold Hill is he's a con man, but he's enjoying it. He always enjoys it,
Mm-hmm. Amelia, questions for Jim before we let him go?
Yeah. How was he? How was Angelo in high school? Was he like?
I was a prick.
Angelo was exactly what he says about himself is true. I wanted to be in shows. He performed. He was in like talent shows, and he would anything where people were going to be getting on stage. He wanted to be involved, but personally, just kind of walking around, he was not a showboat type guy or loud or obnoxious in any way. Like quiet, cool guy. Were you 2 years behind me? Were you in my brother Dennis's class?
No, I was 1 year behind you.
1 year behind me. Okay, yeah. So
you graduated, Jim, in 76. I was 77.
Yep, 77. So and actually, because I'm young for my grade, we are the same age because I'm 64, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I wish I had more juicy tidbits for you, but no, Angelo was as advertised.
Okay. How much did he pay you? I'll pay you double.
Pay you double.
Honestly,
I'll tell you what. I would be remiss if I did not show Jim Fyfe's claim to fame.
Right.
The thing that I think put him on the map. Let's take a look at this.
There has been a destructive force unleashed on this town such as I have never seen.
Oh my God, I don't believe this. It's not happening!
We have got a poltergeist!
Okay, well, folks, I can do a clearance, but it's not going to be cheap. Although I do offer a 6-month guarantee.
That fellow takes us totally for granted.
Hey, Stuart, in or out, huh?
Frank Bannister had a remarkable ability.
Psychic investigator?
To communicate with the dead.
You could see spirits?
Emanations are normally confined to the cemetery.
You cannot push spirits around!
Although they do escape.
And an uncanny knack.
We're gonna scare the living daylights out of your parents.
For making a profit off the living.
We're supposed to be his business partners.
Everyone says that you're a fraud, but I've seen what you can do.
Give it up, Frank. Death ain't no way to make a living.
But now, some things put the fear of death in the living.
What is happening to me?
And sent the dead running for their lives.
I've seen a figure in a cape.
That was the soul collector. When your number's up, that's it.
Frank, we got problems. All these murders that have been going on in Fairwater, they're gonna pin them on you.
From Universal Pictures and Robert Zemeckis.
You're next, pal.
And acclaimed director Peter Jackson.
We don't stop till the screaming starts, you dig?
The Frighteners.
Okay, the only question I have about that clip. How much time did you spend in the makeup chair?
Oh, it'd be like an hour, maybe 2.
Really?
But we shot all of our stuff on green screen. So we would be there at the actual location and kind of block the scene. And then we would walk out and they would shoot it. They'd kind of pre-program the camera to make room for us. And then they would shoot it. Then we'd shoot our actual stuff on a green screen later. I'm going to sneeze twice. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. Usually a second one's coming. So it was not as much makeup as it might look, but true to my the roots of my acting career, it had like gloppy glue, like because we were blue and runny, and it was always a little clammy. But it was super fun. Peter Jackson is a great guy. Everybody involved with that production was really, really great. I got to go to New Zealand with my wife and my daughter for 10 weeks.
Wow. Oh, beautiful.
That's great.
By the way, we are, I'm not even going to tell you. I'm going to let Amelia tell you. Amelia, where are we in New Zealand?
Number 1 in
We're number 1 in New Zealand.
Fantastic.
Not even bullshitting you. We're number 1 in New Zealand. We're number 4 in Australia. We're number 5 in Italy, in Milan. We just picked up. We're on right now. Almost 500 radio stations, like celestial stations worldwide.
Wow.
We're on 3,000 platforms worldwide.
3,000 plus platforms.
We're almost at the 11 million mark in our tally here. We're very proud of that. And I'm going to tell people, go to our website, check it out. It's wwtfradio.podbean.com. Let me give everybody our heads up, and then Amelia's going to take it over. Our name is our address, wwtfradio.podbean.com. You can reach us at What's the Buzz Podcast at gmail.com. Find us on YouTube at youtube.com/at What's the Buzz Podcast. And tell them that the Mad Dog and the Pitbull send you. Amelia, tell everybody what's coming up next week.
Yes, actually, this Thursday we're going to be showing. We're going to be talking about the Denver airport.
Oh, the mysteries of the Denver airport.
Wow.
What lurks beneath the surface of Denver? Jim, do you know anything about that?
Not a thing. I'll have to
You
watch.
haven't heard the conspiracy theories about the Illuminati headquarters being underneath the? Oh God, yes, check it out.
Never heard that.
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. We tell everybody every week, you can't make this shit up. It's just it's too bizarre to make up.
Yep.
Too bizarre to make up. And why would you anyway? Amelia, what we got coming up next weekend?
Absolutely. And then after that, it's going to tie into January 31st and February 2nd. Is going to be this 2-part show of the New World Order.
We're going to take the deep dive into the Illuminati, the New World Order, and MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
A program thought to have been closed in 1976. It is not. It's alive and well and doing business today in the U.S. of A. MK Ultra is a dangerous, dangerous organization. They're playing with people's minds. They're people, and here's the thing. Back in the day, MK Ultra, they told you what they were and what they were doing. They're not doing that anymore. They're just doing stuff. They're not telling anybody what they're up to. At least we had disclosure back in the 50s and 60s. So it's going to be interesting, the information that we turn up, and I've got quite a bit of information. Well, I'll tell you what, my brother, Jim Fyfe, you are a welcome guest here.
Yes.
Any damn time you want to stop by and say hi.
Thank you.
And I'm going to make sure Amelia does a fabulous, stellar job of keeping in touch with you. In other words, she's going to break your balls. And we're going to keep you on our short leash list over here. We're going to keep you on the short list because I want to keep you around. You're my friend, and I want to keep you as my friend. And even if we don't see each other, but maybe once or twice every couple of years, it's Old Home Week when we do get together.
Absolutely.
I'm honored to be your friend. I'm honored to say that I know you. Do
it's
not
a pleasure
go anywhere.
to meet you.
After the show is over, don't go anywhere. I'm going to dismiss Amelia, and you and I are going to talk.
All right. Great.
For Amelia, the Pitbull Chapman, I am the Mad Dog. On behalf of Jim Fyfe, WWTF Radio, everywhere around the world, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.